Ladies, thank you so much. I want to welcome you to my masterclass, Cultivate Your CEO Mindset. You may have gotten the workbook emailed to you, depending on how you registered. Deb's going to drop it in chat. So it is a fillable workbook. You can work on it as I'm doing the masterclass. You can print it out and handwrite it, or you can completely ignore it and just take notes. It's completely up to you. I am really big on note taking and I highly recommend it. Hands up, either virtually or if you're on camera, put your hands up. If you have ever felt like a total fake when it comes to managing your business. So drop it in chat or put your hands up. Let me know what you're seeing, Deb. I hear you laughing.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing at our expressions, both like maybe.
Well, I got to tell you, Judith is saying me. It's good to know that I'm not alone. Maybe it was the thought of putting together your first proposal. Perhaps it was when you had to fix some kind of a problem with some aspect of your job. Or maybe it was when your friends asked you how the business was going and your insides definitely clutched. Okay, well, in this masterclass, I'm going to share with you 3 keys to help you navigate that feeling of, oh my God, what am I doing? So that you can create more clients, more income, and more impact. How does that sound? I'm assuming you're all nodding. Well, let me introduce myself to you again, those of you that have not met me in person. My name is Mahara Wayman. I am the founder and CEO of my business, Mindfulness with Mahara. I wake up each day pretty excited to be me. I feel so jazzed and so grateful that I've started my business. I'm very proud of what I bring to the world and how I now navigate the reality of entrepreneurship. I am passionate about sharing everything that I've learned with other entrepreneurs, just like yourself, because I know firsthand what a difference it made to my life to have a CEO mindset. I'm also a published author, motivational speaker, mastery method certified coach, and a podcaster. I help entrepreneurs just like you cultivate a CEO mindset. It wasn't always this way, however. No word of a lie. When I first started, man, it was scary. But before that, I worked for a global health and wellness company for just over 10 years. And I supported other people as they transformed their lives. I was successful by anyone's standards. And I was really, really happy until the day I wasn't. When COVID was at its height, I was invited to exit the corporate world. And I couldn't have been I did a little happy dance, no word of a lie. I found some mentors that were living the life I wanted, doing the work that I'd always dreamed of. I asked for a ton of help. I took free workshops, paid courses. I took a year-long certification program. And I made every mistake possible, but I learned from them. Some of the things I did to begin with, let's see if you can relate. I undercharged for my services. Well, at first I didn't even charge, but when I did start to charge, it was peanuts. I worried incessantly that I didn't know what I was doing, and I often second guessed my choices. I began to see some behavioral patterns, though, and with the help of a coach, I turned my focus inwards to learn how to better run my business. Truthfully, I became a total badass and the CEO of my company and the CEO of my life. And I know now that, oh my God, the possibilities are absolutely endless as I continue to cultivate my CEO mindset. So I want you to think back to a time when perhaps you felt that way, unsure, afraid, a fake, maybe even a failure. Can you guys think of a time? Deb says yesterday. Can you all think of a time when you had that niggle, that feeling? It may have even felt like a heavy coat that you were wearing. Well, ask yourself, what would be possible if you learned to cultivate your CEO mindset as I did, so that you design the business of your dreams, so that you show up authentically every day and easily navigate whatever life throws at you? Well, I want you to know that cultivating your CEO mindset is more than thinking good thoughts and just motivating yourself, right? I believe it starts on the inside And in this masterclass, I'm going to talk about the 3 main keys to successfully cultivate your CEO mindset so you can take your life and your business wherever you want. The first thing I'm going to talk about is visionary thinking, the ability to imagine a clear and inspiring future beyond current circumstances, both personally and professionally. Next is strategic decision making. This is the process of making well-informed choices that align with long-term goals and vision. And last, but certainly not least, actually, this is my favorite one, resilience and adaptability. You know, the ability to bounce back from setbacks with the capacity to adjust to changing circumstances. In other words, it's learning to pivot when needed. Now, the result of all this, ladies, you're going to find yourself feeling super excited about your business and confident in your ability to navigate it. How is all of that sounding to you guys?
Thumbs
Good?
up and a few
Thumbs
nods.
up. We're getting the thumbs up. Okay, beautiful. Here's a gentle reminder for you, though. Ladies, be the CEO of your life. You're the perfect person for the job. Okay. First, though, I want to look at a hard truth that we don't want to ignore. It's easy to feel like an imposter. You know, the lack of experience can often trigger imposter syndrome. You know what I'm talking about, right? Where you just think, what am I doing here? I am not good enough. I'm not, all of those I'm not enough sentences. Yeah. But you'll also find that when you compare yourself to others, that can amplify feelings of inadequacy and the dreaded imposter syndrome. I don't know about you, but I did that a lot when I first started. Comparison, not good. And fear of failure, it's common among new CEOs. So, ladies, show of hands or drop it in chat. How many of you resonate with those hard truths? Yeah?
I absolutely do. I just always felt like I needed more schooling. Well, once I get this course or this certification or whatever certifications I have, I often just put just in front of it. Well, I just got this, you know?
Exactly. So, is there anything else that you would add to that list, though? If so, drop it in chat. What else would you add to that list that you've experienced with this hard truth on how easy it is to feel like you're an imposter? Are you seeing anything new in chat, Deb?
No, but perhaps people are typing. I feel like I can't be the only one.
No, you can't be the only one.
I shared my hard truth.
Well, you know what? I'm going to say that some of the things, sort of an underlying feeling for me was I just wanted to sit down and cry. I didn't want people to know that, but I just wanted to weep because I felt lost, right? And I realized that this is not something that my mommy could fix. You know, when I was young, a kid, my mom could fix it. But this isn't something I had to be the one to figure this out. Despite my efforts to reach out to lots of people and ask for help, that's why I say it starts on the inside. Totally starts on the inside.
And Michaela's talking about that she was shocked to even learn that it doesn't matter how much you earn, that even 7-figure income earners still struggle, right? Like it's a normal human emotion, imposter syndrome. Doesn't matter how much money you have.
Yeah. Ooh, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
But it's okay, because that's why we're here, right? We're here to talk about how to navigate all of that. So, Deb, thanks for sharing that with me. We'll move on. So here's an easy truth, though, lady, that's going to trump hard every time. And I want you to really, really let this sink in. The most incredible growth happens when we are encouraged to change, supported along the way, and empowered to be our best. And that's where I come in. Now, there are many factors to take into consideration when it comes to being a visionary thinker. And today I'm going to talk about the top 3. The first, oh my God, so important, clarity of purpose. Clearly define your long-term objectives and your mission, because having a well-defined purpose, it's going to guide you in your visionary thinking, and it's going to help you to stay focused on your goals. Before I move on, just with a show of hands, how many of you already know that you've got a clear definition of your long-term objectives? Hands up. My hand, I can't put my hand up. Well, I do now, but I didn't before. Okay, clarity is everything. And I'm going to talk about that quite a bit. Moving on. Thanks, Deb. The next thing that you want to think about as a visionary thinker is to always be learning. So stay informed about emerging trends, technologies, and any industry developments. Now, you guys have already showed a degree of this because you've jumped onto this masterclass. So give yourselves a little bit of a high five for that. Just remember that a visionary thinker always remains open to new ideas and adapts their vision based on evolving knowledge.
Hey, Mahara, there's a comment in here around that about people getting stuck on what they think they should do versus being true to themselves and what they want to do. So the difference between should and want.
Oh, you know what? I hate the word should.
Mm.
It has caused me so many years of angst and pain and second guessing. But it's true, especially in this day and age of technology. There's so much information out there. And it kind of goes back to the comparison, right? I remember scrolling through Instagram going, oh, I really like how she did that. That's how I should do it. And I would get sidetracked. So while continuous learning is a key, don't confuse that with comparison and doing what other people, just mimicking other people. Because part of what I've learned is that what makes you so amazing and your business amazing, it's you. It's not the copy of someone else. It's you. So learn about things, but have it connect with your values and who you are, because then it's more comfortable. Does that make sense? That's what visionary thinkers do. Okay, so moving on. Collaboration and communication. I can't stress this one enough. Ladies, engage with others who share your vision or who can contribute valuable insights, right? So know that there are people out there that agree with what you're doing and could offer very valuable insights, thoughts, ideas, anything to help you with your vision. Now, effective communication and collaboration can help you refine your vision and gain support for its realization. So that is very important. Basically, what we're looking at is the recognition that visionary thinkers are extremely clear on their purpose. They are always learning, and they embrace collaboration and communication 200%. Can you see how those things help to develop a CEO mindset? Yeah. Which of these are you already badass at? Which of these three things are you already a badass at? Clarity of purpose, continuous learning, or collaboration and communication? I want to have a quick conversation about this. You can drop it in chat or just take yourself off mute.
Continuous learning.
Yeah.
That's the one I would say I'm good. I'm always engaging with more learning.
Continuous learning. Okay. So does it come as a surprise to you that there's more to being a visionary than just learning? It did to me. Well, to be honest, part of what I got stuck on was just my actual excitement of what I was doing. And I think that Debbie could attest to this. My creativity is through the charts on the best of days, and I can get lost with that. It wasn't until I understood really what it meant to be a visionary that I was able to allow myself to do something else other than just be creative or other than just take another course. Just like you mentioned earlier, Deb, we can get caught up in the I need to know more. So remember this: clarity of purpose, continuous learning, and collaboration and communication are things that will help you to develop visionary thinking. Brilliant. Okay. Moving on. Another little bit of inspiration from yours truly. Ladies, listen up. Teach the world your worth by first acknowledging it. I know that can be hard sometimes, but the beauty in cultivating your CEO mindset is that with every action, you declare your worth and your intention to the world. And that also sets the stage for the next thing that we want to talk about, which is strategic decision making. Now, Judith says you need to do that. Absolutely. Judith, we can talk about that another time, right? Because I agree. Understanding our worth, it's key to a successful CEO mindset. But strategic decision making, this is the process of making well-informed and timely decisions that align with the overarching goal and vision of your business. And it may seem like a complex process, but it can be broken down into 4 key components. And the first is data gathering and analysis. So regardless of what you do for a living, collect relevant data, both quantitative and qualitative, because this is going to inform your decision-making process. Then you want to analyze it. So analyze the information so that you can get some insights into what's going on in business. You can look at market trends and the potential risk and the potential for opportunity. And for the love of God, ladies, do not do what I did, which was totally skip this strategic decision-making component and crossed my fingers and put it behind my back and took action on a wing and a prayer. That did not work for me. Can you relate? Yeah, it was ugly. So the second component to strategic decision-making is to make sure you've got goal alignment. So you want to make sure that every decision that you make aligns with your long-term goals and your strategic objectives. So you want to consider how each decision is going to impact these goals and whether or not it supports the goal or hinders the goal, right? So every decision, is this taking me closer or further away? And if you need help, by the way, in setting and achieving goals, I have 2 recorded masterclasses from blah to badass and what to do when your good life leaves you miserable. That's going to be released soon, and they both cover this in detail. So these are recorded masterclasses. You can just buy them, download them, and keep them in your back pocket. But I talk about the importance of goal alignment a lot in those. Now, the third component is risk assessment. Guys, you got to evaluate all the potential risks and uncertainties that are associated with each decision. Do not pretend that there aren't risks or uncertainties, because that's just putting your head in the sand. And what this involves is identifying what the potential obstacles are and assessing their likelihood of impact and developing strategies that are going to either mitigate them or manage them. So do not put your head in the sand. Just, okay, what could go wrong? What could go right? If this goes wrong, then how do I navigate it? So you really want to have a comprehensive risk assessment. And the last thing you want to look at is stakeholder involvement. You really want to consider the perspectives and the input of key internal and external stakeholders. And you want to start with yourself. So what I mean by this is think about and understand how each decision may affect various stakeholders in your business, and then involve them in the decision-making process, if appropriate, because that can actually lead to a more well-informed and well-rounded choices. Okay, these 4 components, I'm losing my voice because I've been sick. These 4 components, data gathering and analysis, don't be afraid of numbers, goal alignment, make sure they match, risk assessment, and stakeholder involvement help to create a structured and systematic approach to strategic decision-making, ensuring that all of your decisions are well-informed, goal-oriented, risk-aware, and considerate of the interests of relevant parties. So, does this resonate? Deb, I'm going to ask you to stop sharing because I want to have a little discussion about this. Because to me, strategic decision-making was just not on my radar. So with a show of hands, ladies, virtually or actually put your hand up, how many of you are already strategic decision makers? What are you seeing, Deb?
That's not, we need to be more that way, is what I'm seeing. We need to be more that way. You know, I can tell you personally, when I look at this, I would say I spent a lot of time on number 3. Like, what are the risks? What are my goals? This is what I want. Like the woo, and oh my gosh, what if this happens? So strategic decision making, when you were talking about that, I was like, oh, it involves 4 components, not just the worrying or the wants, right? Yeah.
Such a good call out, not just the worrying or the want. I just want to share that I totally missed this. I didn't even know the term strategic decision making. And I made most of my decisions on the level of my excitement and the level of my creativity. Honestly, my naivete was adorable until it wasn't, which is why I now do what I do. But is there anyone else that would like to share an example of how they either have or haven't used strategic, can't even say it, strategic decision making in their business up until now? No?
Like there's a sometimes in here, but I think it's a lot to take in, these 4, right? For me, it's even just looking at them and going, okay, I could spend more time
Yeah.
in one of these buckets.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you've got this information in your workbook, and I'm glad that it's that everyone's pausing to think about it, because to me it was a big miss on my journey. Okay, so moving on. Now, a lot of what I talk about, I think it's more tweaking the strategy. Oh, yeah, Vanessa, that's a good point. And this may help. So much of what I talk about is around clarity and requires emotional intelligence. I think that clarity and emotional intelligence go hand in hand because they both deal with understanding and controlling our emotions, knowing yourself better, and communicating well with others. So I know that when we seek clarity, we open the door to true fulfillment and our next level of growth. And luckily for you, I've created a very simple tool to help you develop both emotional intelligence and clarity. I call it the clarity cone, and there you go. It's the shape of a cone. It is in your workbook, so you can just follow along, or just with me, or just do that later. But the idea of the clarity cone is to let you really get a better understanding of something that's still sitting heavily with you. So I'm going to invite you to think of a situation, either current or from the past, could be personal, it could be business, that still holds an emotional charge for you. You know, when you think about it, your chest maybe tightens, your tummy, there's something there for you. So when you've got the situation, you're going to describe it at the very top of the cone, right? Chances are your description is going to have a lot of assumptions. Most of us do that, but write down whatever the situation is filled with assumptions. You know, I remember this situation because this is what I did, and my mom got mad, and my brother was pissed, and I felt this way. Just write it out. What you're going to find with this tool is that it's going to encourage you to be like the famous TV detective from the 70s. His name was Columbo. Do you guys remember that show? I'm totally dating myself, but
Just
Columbo,
one
you're
question.
laughing.
Yeah.
Columbo annoyed everybody because he scratched his head all the time and he asked lots of questions. But it was the art of questioning everybody that he figured out who done it. And that's what we're going to do in this situation. So you've described it. Now pretend to be Columbo and ask yourself or others just a ton of questions. And I suggest that we start with the famous who, what, where, when, why. Whatever's appropriate for the situation. What you're doing is you are gathering facts so that you can have less assumptions, right? It's so important that we just keep asking, why did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did that happen? Why did he say that? Why do I feel like that? Why is it that every time my husband repeats after me what I'm wearing, that's what you're wearing, I lose my mind? Yeah, that's a little bit of personal stuff there, but it drives me crazy. But now I know why it drives me crazy. So you have gathered more information. And what you'll probably find is that the more questions you ask, the more information you bring in, the fewer assumptions are left at the table. And at the same time, you'll be developing your emotional intelligence. And I'm going to be talking more about that shortly. As a reminder, this exercise is in the workbook. But ladies, when it comes to seeking clarity, I challenge you to stop making assumptions and immediately ask more questions, especially in your business. Now, how are you feeling about this idea of making assumptions and judgments in your business? Could be about you, could be about the business. Let's have a quick conversation about this because I think this is really powerful. How many of you recognize that you either have in the past or currently are making assumptions about you or your business? Show of hands. Okay, Deb's got her hand up. My hand's always up. Vanessa, yes. Would
I
anyone?
find that I write this both sides of the story.
What do you mean by that?
Well, when a situation happens and somebody says no to me, I fill in the reasons why, even if they don't tell me, right? And it's usually like I'm not good enough, or I didn't ask for the sale properly, or they're probably not ready, or blah, 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 blah. I realize you ever watch toddlers play, right? No, you say this and then you say that. I fill in both sides of the story. I'd be a good script writer, I think.
So let me ask you this, Deb. Is that working for you? Not to sound like Dr. Phil, but how's that working for you?
Well, it turns out that I don't have ESP as well as I think I do, right? Because I find that when I write both sides of the story, it's generally not in my favor either, right? Like
Yeah.
and what I realize is that it's probably nothing to do with me, right? Nothing to do with me, whether they said yes or whether they said no.
I remember years ago when being trained with Weight Watchers, being trained that, when I make assumptions about the members, I am doing them a disservice. If I
Mhm.
make the assumption that they can't follow the program, I mean, how ignorant is that? If I make the assumption that they can't afford the program, who am I to even I don't know anything about their bank or their balance or their habits. So it
It's
was
you.
a lesson I learned early on not to make assumptions, but it's very easy to do, I think, especially when you're in business for yourself. Does anybody else have any thoughts on how they make assumptions, how you may be making assumptions in your business right now? Are you in agreement that getting clear on a situation is powerful? Vanessa says,
Assuming what the customer want, there is a buyer's journey and they may buy later. So I guess, yeah, it comes back to your other thing that you were talking about, right? Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, we can't make assumptions. And really, especially the more you use the clarity cone, for example, the easier it will become to ask questions like, hey, I'm curious. Thanks for reaching out. I see that you chose not to pursue this at this time. Any feedback? I'm curious. Any feedback for me on that? And
Mhm.
they could say, oh my gosh, you know what? I'm just going to get it next month. Or, well, thanks for sharing it with me, but now I realize that this actually isn't what I'm looking for. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what their answer is. The minute you take control and ask a question, you're back in control. And that's important.
And not writing the script, right? You're not writing both sides of the story. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, stop writing the script. Yeah, stop. That's true. That's true. Okay, so let's move on from the clarity cone. And the last component of cultivating your CEO mindset, which I think is the juiciest, is resilience and adaptability. So, resilience is the capacity to bounce back from setbacks, overcome challenges, and remain steadfast in pursuing goals. Adaptability involves embracing change, learning from experiences, and adjusting your strategies in response to all of the evolving circumstances. I mentioned it at the beginning. It's called pivoting, people. And well, as an entrepreneur, I'm sure you will all agree that there will always be opportunities to pivot because things seem to be always changing, right? Now, cultivating a CEO mindset requires developing emotional resilience to cope with the stress, to cope with the failure, and to cope with all of those uncertainties that come, right? We want to be able to thrive in dynamic and unpredictable environments, which is frankly the world that we live in. So I encourage each of you to really embrace this component fully and do a deep dive into it whenever you can, because this is the component where the inner work happens, right? And as I've mentioned a couple times already, I believe that it's doing the inner work where we're going to make the most strides. This is what we have to do to develop our emotional intelligence so that we're not flattened by what happens in our business, because that hurts. Okay, so let's have a look at what this is all about. Emotional intelligence is your self-awareness to understand your emotional reactions to stress and to change. Recognize when you're feeling overwhelmed or anxious. Now, part of having emotional intelligence is also to recognize exactly what you're feeling. For example, am I tired or am I depressed? Am I angry or am I disappointed? Or am I embarrassed? Now, an emotion wheel, you've probably all seen one, but they can really help you with it. So I have included one in the workbook. Building your emotional intelligence, building your emotional regulation skills, it's vital for tons of reasons. And I think especially as it pertains to cultivating a CEO mindset, it helps you to make wise decisions. It helps you to manage your stress, to foster comfortable collaboration, adapt to change, improve your communication, boost your morale, and maintain positive relationships with clients and with yourself. So, honest to God, super important, right? There are some techniques I'm going to share with you that will help you with this. So, don't worry, I got you back. The first is deep breathing. Now, I know Deb is hugely into deep breathing, and I love it myself. So I'm sure this isn't new to you, but really, when you are feeling emotionally stressed, take slow, deep breaths to calm your nervous system. It's the quickest and easiest way to readjust and feel more centered and aligned. So typically, you inhale deeply through the nose, you hold it for a few seconds, and you exhale slowly through your mouth. You can repeat this several times to alleviate stress and anxiety. There is an old Italian proverb that says, one who does not breathe deeply does not live fully. So drop in chat. You guys know this technique of deep breathing when you're feeling, yeah?
I might be doing it right now as soon as you.
Oh, hello. I almost hyperventilated before this started, but that's going to be another masterclass. How to navigate stress when you do stuff online. Okay. The second key is mindful meditation. So practice mindfulness by focusing on the present moment without judgment. Guys, I'm just going to repeat that. When we practice mindful meditation, it's one thing to be focused on something, but you want to try focusing on it without judgment. So, for example, if I sit here and think about my breathing, just breathe and stop saying you're not doing it deep enough, right? That's judgment. So you want to pay attention to your thoughts and your feelings without getting overwhelmed by them or judging them. Now, this technique can enhance emotional regulation and resilience. So how many of you already meditate? Just show of hands. How many hands are going up there, Deb?
All of them.
Yes. Okay, brilliant. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a 30-minute exercise. When you are trying to manage tough emotions, just closing your eyes, deep breathing, or focusing on something in the moment can really, really help you. Okay, nice. Next one, positive reframing. Challenge negative thoughts by reframing them in a more positive light. I know this sounds easy, and in the moment it's not, but the more you do it, the easier it can become. So instead of dwelling on what went wrong, try to find a silver lining or some kind of a lesson that you either have learned or could learn. This can shift your perspective and make challenging situations more manageable. It's one way to help manage your tough emotions. So these three techniques, deep breathing, mindful meditation, and positive reframing, help us manage tough emotions. And this leads us right into the second component of resilience and adaptability, which is mindset shift. Okay, I know this entire masterclass is about cultivating a mindset shift, but it's particularly important when you need to be resilient and adaptable. So I know you may be sick of hearing this, peeps, but developing a growth mindset, which involves looking at challenges and setbacks as opportunities for learning and growth, it's key to being resilient. I have a quote about this. It's not a mistake if you learn from it. It's not a mistake if you learn from it, ladies, which is why it's so key that we adopt this growth mindset, right? It's easy to say, not always easy to understand it or live it. But I really encourage you to embrace this idea that stuff happens. And as an entrepreneur, it may happen a lot, but it doesn't make you a bad person. It simply says, wow, you've created lots of opportunities for growth. So if you look at it that way, if you look at the incident or the mistake, quote, and ask yourself, okay, what did I learn from that? How can this move me forward? Why did I do that? It may simply be a case of, okay, I've learned I'm never going to do that again. Or maybe you learned a better way to show up live on Instagram, right? Whatever you learned from it, that goes in the win column, right? The minute you learn from it, it's not a mistake. It was an opportunity, right? And it was created so that you could learn that lesson. Cultivating a positive outlook and optimism is often easier said than done, but I have a few things that'll help you to do that. So the first is always focus on the solution rather than dwelling on the problem, right? You always have a choice to say, okay, there's got to be a solution. I may not know it, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Show of hands, how many of you have a positive outlook and always focus on the solution? Show of hands, virtually or real. Did everybody's hand go up?
No.
Yeah, you won't get spanked, I promise. You won't get spanked. Yeah. If that's not your normal, then this is your permission slip to start embracing this idea of going, okay, no spanking today. What can I learn from it? Beautiful. Those of you that put your hand up, yay for you. Vanessa, you're saying I am the problem versus I have a problem. I love that. Language is powerful, and even just that little switch makes all the difference in the world. You may feel, your feelings are real, but that doesn't make the situation factual. It doesn't make what you're feeling be fact. You may feel lousy, shitty that you did something wrong or something that didn't feel good, but that doesn't make you a bad person. So thanks for pointing that, Vanessa. That's a powerful way to look at it. Thanks. The second thing that you can do is, ask yourself empowering questions, kind of like Columbo, right? Things like, okay, what can I do differently? How can we fix this? And I love this one. What is the best, most realistic outcome? That's one of the things I ask myself a lot. What's the best, most realistic outcome? Beautiful. Next, my third tip, if you're struggling to develop a growth mindset, and this is actually my favorite, is to embrace change as a natural part of life and to welcome it every time it happens. Yeah, this may be new, it may be unexpected, but it may also be better. How many of you have experienced freaking out about something, then it happens and you realize it was better than you ever thought it was going to be? It happens to me all the time. Well, less now because I'm becoming more mindful.
And even in the depths, in the pits, when you look back from where your life is now to when you thought it was terrible, you're like, wow, I needed that to get here, right?
Exactly. Good stuff. Okay, thanks, Deb. And lastly, welcome new experiences and opportunities, because you never know what's on the horizon. Can it be difficult to feel it, live it, navigate it? Yes. As human beings, we love what we know, and change can be scary. But as an entrepreneur, ladies, I want you to really live into this one. As an entrepreneur, you will always experience change. And it is not so difficult to experience it if you see it as a chance for something bigger and a chance for something better. Okay, we've looked at emotional intelligence and mindset shift. The last component of resilience and adaptability is, ta-da, resilience building practices. Yes, so important that we build practices that help us with this. So establish healthy habits that contribute to physical and mental well-being, such as, you've heard this before, regular exercise, balanced diet, lots of sleep, and stress management techniques. And I know you've heard this ad nauseum for most of your adult life, but ladies, we really must put ourselves first, especially as we are the CEOs of our business. We need a level of self-care to build up our resilience to the stresses and the drama of life and entrepreneurship. Yeah, we do. I also suggest that you foster a strong support system. Remember, I talked about collaborating earlier. Maintain close relationships with friends, family, peers who we know can provide emotional support and who know what we're going through, right? Find like-minded people, right? Maybe even in the same business, develop relationships with them and just build a support system. They can support you, you can support them. It's incredibly helpful. You'll also want to engage in activities that boost your self-esteem, right? And your confidence. So these traits are scientifically proven to be linked to resilience. So whatever that looks like for you, ask yourself, what makes me feel good? What do I rock at? Is it singing, dancing, writing, going for walks? Doesn't matter, whatever it is, but whatever you can do in your day to make you feel good. How can you get more of that in your life? How can you get more of that in your week? How can you get just more of that overall? Because when you are feeling self-confident and loving yourself, you build up your ability to, you just become more resilient. That's all there is to it. So whatever builds your self-esteem, keep doing it, do more of it, stick it in your calendar. But I do know that when you focus on these components, you can strengthen your resiliency, your adaptability. And this allows you to navigate business uncertainties more easily and to bounce back from setbacks with greater resilience. These practices are powerful, but it is a daily choice. So ask yourself, will you choose to practice being more resilient? Only you can answer that. It's one of the reasons why I'm so pleased to offer this type of masterclass, because I know firsthand how well it works. Okay, so how are you feeling about developing resilience and adaptability? Feeling good? So, not too sure? Just drop it in chat. And as you're dropping your thoughts on that in chat, I'm curious, which component, emotional intelligence, mindset shift, or resilient building practices needs the most work in your life?
Mindsets are a strength. People are doing it.
Okay.
And yeah, I think for myself, it's the resilience building, right? Like just really not taking so much personally, saying yes to myself.
Yeah.
Right. Just most things are not personal. So that's, and to really, when I do something well, to pause and acknowledge that would be important. Yeah. So I feel like Judith is coming along with me for that, because she says saying yes to herself.
Yeah, it's so important. And I struggled quite a bit with the last one as well. My emotional intelligence, that's been pretty good. I'm an author, a writer. I love language. I've been, working on my mindset shift for years. My business is called Mindfulness with Mahara, but I really struggled with the resilience building practices. In fact, I actually kind of never did it until fairly recently. But luckily for you and for me, I do have a tool to help you with that. And I want you to know that successful CEOs do this all the time. They have mastered their mindset, and they do this by navigating both the triumphs and the turmoil that they've experienced in your life. So as a reminder, this is all in the workbook, but it's an exercise that aims to deepen your understanding of your journey by exploring both the great things and the challenging things that that's happened and that you've experienced. Because when we delve into the times that we were successful with bold decision making, for example, and resilience, you uncover the core strengths of your CEO mindset. And at the same time, looking back on the things that were not so great gives you valuable insight into how you can grow and the areas where you can do things better. Maya Angelou famously said, do the best you can until you know better. Then when you know better, do better. I absolutely love that quote. So making this a habit of looking back and questioning helps you to become a pro at managing your mindset. And it encourages like a go-getter and tough entrepreneurial attitude. So I want you to embrace this idea of questioning yourself and learning from what went well and what didn't. Can anybody else relate to this fear of actually starting a business or starting something new within your business?
I think sometimes it feels too big.
Mm.
I don't want to put words in Judith's mouth, but right, like the not starting because you have this idea and where you want to be or what you want to do, but there's so much to overcome to actually starting it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And especially as entrepreneurs, I think there's two things. There's the outside stuff, like the actual how do I like what are the actual steps? Do I get a business name first or do I have a business plan? So there's lots of outside things that need to happen. But what I think often is the first thing that holds us back are all of the things that happen on the inside. And I love that Vanessa brought up this idea of maybe it's this perfectionism. So I ask my clients, what's the story that you're telling yourself? Deb mentioned that she's a great storyteller. And I would say that whenever we are faced with a seemingly insurmountable challenge, whether it's our life or our business, we are telling ourselves the story long before we get the facts. And that can stop us in our tracks, whether it's I need to be perfect or I'm not good enough or I don't know where to start. Whatever that story is, there's magic and gold in that story if you're willing to look at it. And that's why I talk about the clarity cone. Let's get clear on what's really going on. So, Judith, thanks for sharing that challenge. You are not alone. That's not the one that really affected me the most, but it makes sense when we are afraid or don't know what to expect. Sometimes it's hard to take action, but know that you can take it, because if that dream is on your heart, whatever the work is that you want to do, and actually I know you want to be a coach, if it's in your heart, it's there for a reason and you're meant to do it. So just know that you're not alone, and I got your back. Right? There's lots of people that are supporting you in your dream. Can anybody think of a time when they just blew it out of the water? I know that you have. If you can, just say yes, drop yes in the chat, because we want to know that you've had this experience of, oh my God, I rocked it. There are way more questions in the actual workbook, and I do invite you to go through them, because this is how you get to know yourself better. This is how you get to learn from challenges and celebrate the mistakes. Thanks, Deb. Okay, let's do a recap. Cultivating your CEO mindset, it's more than just thinking good thoughts and motivating yourself every day. In this masterclass, I talked about the 3 main keys to successfully navigating your CEO mindset. And the first was visionary thinking, right? Cultivate a CEO mindset by having a clear and well-defined purpose, always learning and collaborating and communicating well with like-minded peers. Ladies, see the possibility. Next, we looked at strategic decision-making. Remember, there are 4 components to creating a structured and systematic approach to strategic decision-making, ensuring that your decisions are well-informed, goal-oriented, risk-aware, and considerate of everybody that's involved. Ladies, navigate the probabilities. And we just looked at resilience, and adaptability. Bolster your emotional intelligence, strengthen your support system, and develop healthy habits and self-confidence to cultivate the resilience and the adaptability right into your mindset. Ladies, embrace change. Now, my team put together a short video with some thoughts from previous clients who are developing their CEO mindset. And Deb, I'm going to get you to click this for us right now. I want to share with you that much of today's content comes from my signature group program, Build Your Best Badass Business, your path to authentic business success. So this is what it is. It's a 6-month container, 24 60-minute live group sessions over Zoom, the option for laser coaching and additional one-on-one, private community group, more clarity, connection, joy, and tools for living your best life and creating your best business. And this is what it does: provides crystal clear clarity for every aspect of your life and your business, fuels significant growth while discovering your true passions, cultivates unapologetic authenticity and mindset for attracting success, also known as badassery, instills inner courage and triumph so that you can triumph over your challenges, and establishes very powerful boundaries and celebrates unwavering determination. This will help you to craft a business that's aligned with your dreams so that you meet your future confidently and smile when no one is looking. Next steps, ladies, call to action. I am going to invite each and every one of you to book a badass breakthrough session with me by scanning the QR code. I would love to help you have a breakthrough, especially if something came up for you with this masterclass. So let's see if we're a good fit and if my Build Your Best Badass Business group program is right for you. I'm going to leave this up for a minute. You can scan it. Deb's also going to drop a link to book a session in chat. And a couple things we still need to do. We need to pick a winner for a free one-on-one session with me. Everybody that showed up live goes in the hat. Deb is going to pull that name out of her virtual hat and announce the winner. And then I want to open it up for some Q&A. I want you to know that I have a fast action bonus for anyone that books a call with me in the next 2 days or decides to join my program in the next 2 days. And that is a 20% discount off my group program. So fast action bonus, 20% discount. The program is going to launch in the first week of May. So what I'm offering as part of the fast action bonus is for every week before we launch, if you sign up with me, you'll get a free one-on-one. So technically what that means is if you were to sign up this week, you would get 3 to 4 free one-on-one sessions with me before the group program starts. I'm so glad that my energy is contagious.
Yes. Assumptions in the stories. Yeah. I feel like those are the big ones. For me, it was the clarity, right? To coming back to the assumptions, using the clarity cone to help me alleviate the assumptions, right? Like, is that really true? It's true. Is that just what you think is true?
Yeah, it actually can be quite fun. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And really, man, I've had some eye-opening realizations about how I allowed my assumptions just to become habit and how lazy I became because I just stopped questioning. And yeah, it's a big one. So yeah, thanks for that call out, Deb. Recognizing where we make assumptions in our life and business. If that's the only thing that you take away from today's masterclass, then I'm smiling because that in itself can drastically change the direction of your business when you start to look at that without fear or judgment, right? And then take appropriate steps to navigate whatever comes up for you. Thanks so much for watching the replay of this masterclass. Please feel free to book a complimentary Badass Breakthrough session with me, or check out all of my offerings at www.mindfulnesswithmahara.com. Here's to you.